Wow, this was a movie I wasn't even looking forward to, but a YouTube friend of mine convinced me, and I've seen this movie twice now. Once back last year, and then in November, and then once at the beginning of the year. So this is going to be for DC's League of Super Pets.
Excellent shielding. That seemed incredibly painful.
Why can't I have gotten a magic hammer or something?
What do I have here?
Squeezy Bruce!
Fetch!
That better be a licensed toy or I will freak out.
So, DC's League of Super Pets. This was another one of the big superhero movies from last year. And of course, this was a 2022 movie, obviously. And this is based on the DC Comics characters of the same name. But this is also based on the Super Pets. And this is by Warner Brothers Pictures and Warner Brothers Animation. This is a fully CGI animated film, obviously. And this stars a massive cast of people. You got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you got Kevin Hart, Diego Luna, Vanessa Bayer, Natasha Lyonne, Kate McKinnon, Olivia Wilde, John Krasinski, Thomas Middleditch, Ben Schwartz, Keanu Reeves, Mark Maron, Diego Luna. Also, more people in here like Jamila Jamil, Jermaine Clement, John Early, David Diggs, Keith David, Joshua Polano, Yvette Nicole Brown, Maya Erskine, Lena Headey, Busy Phillips, Dan Fogler, and Alfred Molina. And this was directed by Jared Stern and written by him and John Whittington. And this was also produced by The Rock. And this is supposed to be the first in a new animated series. Simple premise is you follow Krypto and the Superdog and Superman are inseparable best friends, sharing the same superpowers and fighting crime side by side in Metropolis. And Superman plans to get married to Lois Lane, but this causes a little bit of a stir up with him because he's afraid he will be replaced. However, when the Man of Steel and the rest of the Justice League are kidnapped, Krypto must convince a ragtag group of animals to master their own newfound powers. When it comes to the League of Super Pets, this was another one of those movies that was in my least anticipated of 2022. I was not looking forward to it whatsoever. I thought the idea of Super Pets was going to be a terrible idea. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it sounded stupid.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I just thought it was going to be one of the worst movies ever. I didn't like the trailers. I thought this was going to be a pretty bad experience. And I was questioning myself of all the things DC could do, why this? DC's animated theatrical releases was not on the biggest track record with me, considering the fact I hated the hell out of Teen Titans Go to the movies. It actually took a friend of mine, John Avenger, to actually convince me to watch this. So it was back in November. There was nothing better to do other than watch movies and do some catch up, 2022 catch up. So I finally bit the bullet and decided, you know what? Screw it. Let's watch this movie and let's see how it is. I went into this pretty pessimistic, but when I saw some people saying good things about it, I actually came around on it. So I caved in and I gave the movie the chance that I thought it deserved. And let me tell you, color me shocked when I say League of Super Pets was actually a very solid movie. I definitely quite enjoyed what this had gave me. I was genuinely shocked how much I enjoyed this movie. For someone who was not looking forward to this, I definitely had a lot more fun than I was expecting. Going into the pros of this movie is, of course, the animation. this is not the greatest animation or the greatest animated movie you'll ever see, but I feel like in terms of Warner Bros. Animated movies, they do one thing right when it comes to it. They don't preach. They do give you exactly what you want. You do get exactly what you're coming for when it comes to a movie like this. It's basically the Super Pets having to team up and be a superhero team and save the Justice League. But I also took a lot of things away from this. There were some positive messages that this movie did give me. And I was genuinely shocked at how much it was a lot of fun. I liked seeing the fact that Krypto and has to be on his own, and also having to work with a rag team of other animals to save the day and save the Justice League. And I just really liked the premise. I really enjoyed what this was going for, and I just had a good time. The story itself is very straightforward, but as I said, I appreciated that. It was just like with the Super Mario Brothers movie. I appreciate a more straightforward story. I really like the friendship between the superheroes and the animals, and each of the animals had their own distinct power, and they each stood out to me. With my personal favorite, of course, with me being the Superman guy, because Superman is my favorite character, was Krypto the Super Dog, and I'm excited to see him make his live action appearance in Superman Legacy in 2025. But I thought Krypto the Super Dog and Superman, their relationship and their bond is very heartfelt. It will make you cry. I will say this right now: if you're an animal lover, if you don't feel anything with the bond between a superhero and his super pet, you kind of don't have a lot of emotions going on there. I definitely do appreciate the fact that this movie actually had the had the ambition to not only cater to superhero lovers, but they also wanted to cater to the animal lovers, because no matter what animals you have, animals are definitely a pet, the easiest way to win someone's heart. Especially, you could have a girlfriend, you could have a boyfriend, you could be married, you could be in a open relationship, but not that type of open relationship. Or you could just be a single person, and you can definitely want a pet. And there is one line in this movie I definitely did like in this movie with Kevin Hart's character, who's basically goes on to be Batman's pet and does stuff like Batman. This movie is also very well directed. His heart is in the right place. It's not too dark. It's very light. The tone is definitely right where it needs to be. I also think, for the most part, this movie is very well written, and I felt the sentimentality of the movie, and there's emotional heartbeats when it comes to this movie. Because no matter if you like this movie or hate this movie, the one thing you do have to admit is that there is an emotional heartbeat into it. Also, some fun action sequences here with the Justice League at the beginning, also with the pets towards the end, them saving the world from the villain, and of course Lex Luthor, of course. And it's fun action. It's nothing on the level of Into the Spider-Verse or Lego Batman, but as its own action, it does the job well, and it gets the job done very well. So for that, I do give it a little bit more credibility than it already has. I think the soundtrack, for the most part, the songs chosen, and also the musical score in here is also very good. Good music here. The animation is very well done. This is a $90 million budget, and it's not overly pricey, it's not overly expensive, and the animation is very good. I love the animation style. It's inspired from architecture and illustrator J.C. Lendiker, and the movie was animated by Animal Logic. So The animation style, again, is like the golden age of comic books, particularly in their painting style, and it's a more optimistic tone and a lot more relatable and cartoonish, and character designs with Silver Age. So that does play a part into it. And going into the voice cast, this is where I go into a little bit tricky because there's a lot of people in this cast that does good. There's only a few who I thought was okay or didn't do as good of a job as they should have. You have The Rock, of course, who say whatever you want about The Rock, but The Rock is always charismatic in his acting roles as he is wrestling. And he also produced this. He plays Anubis, the Black Adam's pet dog. Black Adam, of course, in the post-credit scene, which was a reference to his Black Adam movie, which I still liked, but not everyone else didn't. He also plays Krypto, the super dog, who he is a Kryptonian Labrador Retriever and Superman's pet dog. He brings a lot of energy and a lot of fun into Krypto, the super dog. As I say, he is my favorite character in the movie, right next to Super, because I am a Superman fan. I am a Superman nut. So easily he was going to be the standout of the movie. And he did a good job as well. I thought he had some funny moments. You have Kevin Hart as Ace, the Bat Hound, who has invulnerability and super strength, and he comes into contact with Orange Kryptonite. He becomes Batman's pet at the end of the movie. I thought he had a lot of standout moments. He's not screaming and yelling as you usually see Kevin Hart doing. He does his job well. I definitely liked his part of the movie. Krasinski as Clark Kent Superman. I like John Krasinski for a little bit in Multiverse of Madness. He's a great actor and he's a very good director with A Quiet Place stuff. He was good in the movie as Superman. I wanted more of him, but it's never a bad time to see Superman. So Leon as Martin McSnarty, terrific. What's it? She has super speed and she has poor eyesight, but she does her best impersonation of Joan Rivers. I thought she was great here, and I thought she has some funny moments too. I thought she was great. Diego Luna as Chip, who is a squirrel. He gains electrokinesis. He does have a strong Spanish accent. I do like this actor. I haven't seen Andor just yet, but I've heard it was good. But I'm scared to watch it because of the Star Wars fandom. But he was great. He becomes a Green Lantern pet for Jessica Cruz. On as Lex Luthor, I thought was pretty good. He has his moments. He does a good Lex Luthor. Thomas Middleditch and Julia Morris in the Australian version plays Keith, who is a guinea pig recruited by Lulu, who is empowered by Orange Kryptonite. He becomes Aquaman's pet later on. You also got Ben Schwartz as Mark, who's a guinea pig. He's a guinea pig. He also becomes the pet of Aquaman later on into the movie, and he does a good job in the animation world. I like him as Sonic, so he brings a Sonic the Hedgehog-ness to him, and he's great. Once again, always good to hear him. You also have Keanu Reeves as Bruce Wayne / Batman. He does a great Batman impression. Keanu Reeves, I hope we get to see more of him in the Superpets franchise because I really like his voice. Olivia Wilde, the amazing Olivia Wilde, who some people hate for some reason. I thought she was great as Lois Lane. She is a great voice for Lois Lane. Very feminine, very beautiful, and very charming. Jermaine Clement is Arthur Curry as Aquaman. I thought he had his moments. Not as good as Jason Momoa, but I thought he was good. Daveed Diggs as Victor Stone / Cyborg. I thought he did a good job there. He's very fun. Daska Polanco is Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern. The hairstyle is a little weird because Jessica Cruz usually has long hair. I do have a mini figure Jessica Cruz put up that I got in a little from my little update movie that I got. She was great. I liked the look of the design, very plump. Just could have touched on the hair a little bit more. But Daska, very sexy, very good in her voice role. John Early as the Flash. My friend is a big Flash fan. He does very good in his role too as the Flash, Barry Allen. I do love the Flash as a character. Maya Erskine as Marcy Graves does good as the henchman of Lex Luthor. You also have Sam J. Levine, Keith David as Doggill, Krypto's father. Yvette Nicole Brown as Petty, the owner of the animal shelter. You got Alfred Molina and Lena Headey as Superman's biological mother and father. Could have been in it a little bit more. Busy Phillips as Foofy Dog, as a dog that interacts with Krypto in the park. He does good. Dan Fogler was there for a little bit too. So, solid voice cast for the most part. As far as when it comes to also Vanessa Bayer is PB, pot-bellied pig, who gains the ability to change her size, and she admires Wonder Woman, who's another one of my second favorite characters. So she was great too. Into the mixed side of, as far as the mixed side of the voice cast, when you have, like I said, Alfred Molina and Lena Headey, they do get underutilized. So does Keith David. Could have had more to do. Now, Jamila Jamil, I know some people don't like this actress. That's fine. I've only seen a few episodes of She-Hulk. And yes, she does have some very strong opinions on social media. But voice acting wise, as Wonder Woman, I think she overall did fine. For being my favorite DC female character, she was fine. Not great, not terrible, not insulting, and not offensive. She did her job. I felt like you could have gotten someone else like Stana Katic or Rosario Dawson or Kerry Russell or even Adrian Palicki, or like I said, just use Gal Gadot. Even if it's a small cameo, it would have a little bit of surprise factor. But she did her job. She has her moments. She does get the character down. The accent, though, with Wonder Woman is a little iffy. But the only voice cast in this movie I was not a big fan of. You knew this was coming. I am not a big fan of Kate McKinnon's character in this movie. She's not terrible. Didn't really do much for me as the character of Lulu, the villain who becomes Mercy Graves' pet. Fights through orange kryptonite, gains flight and telekinesis. I felt like you could have casted anyone else in this role. I didn't. The only movie I've ever liked Kate McKinnon in is Ghostbusters 2016. I didn't see The Spy Who Dumped Me yet. Not the biggest fan of her in the book. Here, she's just very useless here, and I just thought she didn't really leave that much of an impression. You could have had anyone else in the role, and it would have made a much better difference. But overall, I think the voice cast is mostly fine here. But as I said here, my only issues here, I wanted a little bit more of the Justice League here. Also, could have used some other characters that weren't here that had pets, like Supergirl, where she had a pet, Poison Ivy, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, Catwoman, Shazam, maybe the Shazam family, Hal Jordan. So maybe if they do more movies, because this is set to be a franchise, if they have more superheroes from DC's catalog, like Supergirl and such, I would like to see them have pets of their own. And I felt like they could have used them in here in the movie. And of course, there were some jokes here that didn't really land for me. But ultimately, I was genuinely shocked at the end how much I enjoyed this movie. This reminds you how Superman is awesome and how much we need more of him in movies. And also, this definitely brought out the kid in you. Now, there are some exaggerated takes they do on these heroes. Not every joke hits. There is some draggy elements in the second half, but this is a movie I've seen twice now, and I have tons of fun watching this. And for kids, just like with Monster High, the movie, which half of the movie going part and half of the Monster High fans just hated on for no reason, I thought this was a huge surprise for me. I love the animation, I love the heart, there's effort put into it, the action is cool, and while you could use a better villain, I definitely didn't hate this. This was a big surprise for me as a DC fan, as an animated fan, and having seen this twice, I enjoyed it. I would recommend this if you are a fan of DC characters. This is definitely worth a shot. It's on HBO Max now, and it's definitely on DVD. But I'm glad I gave this a watch, and I would definitely have no problem seeing the future of Superpets. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this an epitaph.
Well, that's going to do it for the video that you just watched. If you want to see more, my channel icon is up here. If you want to see more content from me, all my social medias are right here in this end card. I will also leave a playlist and a video here for you to see what the channel is about. As always, acknowledge me, stay Epictastic, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.